Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. I am Tony Mancha. I'm your host, of course, and it's Monday. We're kicking this thing off right. We have an amazing guest for you guys that's coming up, and we're going to be talking about some really great things. But before we get started, if this is your first time tuning in, do me a favor, head over to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified every time that we drop a new episode. But most importantly, if you enjoy these conversations, please share this with someone that you know that can benefit from it. But now, before I bring on my next guest, this is for educational purposes only. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section. If you guys read the description, you guys already know who my guest is, Tywanah, and she's here to tell her story today. So you guys help me welcome her. And Tywanah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me today.
Of course. And thank you for greeting me with that beautiful smile and that beautiful blue that you got going on right now. We talked about this.
Yes.
So before we get started, tell people who you are and tell people where you're from.
I am Tywanah Yvette. I go by the two names that my mother gave me. My alter ego is Black Butterfly Goddess, and she was born out of a very short but long healing journey, and very short but long 2.5 year healing journey. And right now I can't call myself a coach because I'm not certified, but I am a mentor. I do try to guide. My motto is illuminating your path from darkness to light. So I do help to guide people who are going through their spiritual awakenings or grief or sadness or depression into their respective light, whatever that might look like for them.
I love it. Now, before you got into this work, who were you?
I was an incest survivor, people pleaser, and I guess you call it, they call it imposter syndrome now, where you wear all the masks to appease everyone. I think that's what they refer to it now as.
We'll touch on that.
Okay. That was me before my healing journey. Very unhappy, did not love myself, did not appreciate myself, saw no value in myself. And my healing journey has completely turned that, as Fresh Prince said, flipped upside down.
Yeah.
And I'm originally from New York City. And I live in the DC area now.
Love it. And I've been to both. I've been to DC. We talked about this, right?
Yes, we did. Yes. The
DC, DC is the place to go if you want to have fun, if you just want to go and see some historical monuments, learn a little bit of history.
Yep.
But most importantly, be around community. There's nothing else like DC, Chocolate City.
Nope.
Oh my God, it's such a beautiful place. I was out there in a time where it wasn't so fun. And, it was the 90s, the early 90s. And I was like, man, there's people going around killing people. Of course, I was like, hold on. As a matter of fact, I was out there from 90 to 92. There was a serial killer out there. And at that moment, he was riding around shooting people do you remember public pools?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going around shooting people in public pools. I was like, I'm not going. You're crazy. I'm not doing none of that.
What is wrong with people?
But that was a different time. But of course, back then, we had other things going on as well, right?
True.
We had a lot of great, beautiful things going on. Times were a little bit simpler.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much, and a lot cheaper.
And a lot cheaper too, right? I was like, oh, geez.
Life was a lot more affordable back then.
Not just that, you know what? You was able to go out and buy things and not be broke.
You used to be able to work 8 to 4 or 7 to 3 or 6 to 2, and you could still go to dinner, and you could you had a life outside of work.
Very
These
true.
days, work is life.
This is very true. Somewhere down the line, I think they tricked us.
They did in
I'm
2020.
not liking it. I'm not liking it. You know what I'm saying? They're like, hey, I know we got the Gen Xers coming about. Let's switch it around and say, hey, retirement age is now 78, 100 years old. Like, hold on. You told me the American dream was
Y'all lied to us.
people.
The boomers lied to us once again.
Look, they've been lying to us for a very, very long time, and I'm kind of sick and tired of it. But I digress. We'll write Congress a nasty letter to let them know that
Exactly.
we're not having this no more.
Exactly. I'm
but
with
now,
you.
You had said something. I want to touch on it if you don't mind. You're a survivor of incest.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that for us?
Absolutely. My father was a pedophile, and not registered or anything. That's my name for him, my natural father. And when he would, he dealt with alcoholism. He was abused as a child. I know his story. But he would not quite understand the difference between his girl children and his mistresses or whatever he was imagining in his head at the time. So he often found his way to me. And at 15, I was impregnated by my father. And I went to live in a group home right after that. After I broke the silence and said something, I went to live in a group home. So yes, I was impregnated by my father at 15.
Now, how did that change your family life at that moment?
It changed it so much it even affected it up until last year.
Wow.
Because the siblings I have on my mom's side, my brother asked, well, surely there's proof somewhere. And I told him, do you want me to sign a release, for you to go to the New York City courthouse and pull the files? I have an older sister who tried to blame me because she got beat by my dad before I was born. And then I have another sister who kind of just la, this isn't happening anymore. Let's not talk about it. But the support that I received was from the siblings I knew the least, which were my father's children from his previous marriage. There's 8 years between me and the next sibling. So when I say I was the baby, I was the surprise. I was the one who, my mom was in menopause when I showed up.
Yeah. Oh.
So, there's a big age gap. So that's why I didn't really know them. And those siblings embraced me and wrapped all of their arms around me, including his ex-wife. Wow. She worked for DFACS in Brooklyn and fought to get me in a better group home in Queens than the one they were going to put me in. Okay. So it's so twisted, right? Because you would think they would be the ones who, were like, oh, we don't want anything to do with you. And the siblings that you grew up with would honor you.
Right.
But it definitely changed my home life. I went to live in a group home. That was a jarring experience in and of itself, living in a New York City group home. Yeah. And it really shaped my reality moving forward, because I had no idea what a healthy man looked like. Probably until last year. I had no idea what a healthy man looked like, and would always choose the ones who were not so healthy. Made a lot of poor, relationship choices, which is why, as you and I have talked, I went single and celibate 2.5 years ago and don't see that journey ending. But it not only shaped life on a daily basis for me, it shaped my reality and how I saw the world, but mostly how I saw myself.
Right.
And I saw myself as nothing and no one and worthless and useless. I literally questioned God, universe, source, whatever anybody else wants to put the label on it, 2.5 years ago, while I laid in a hospital, I fully believed I was a child of Satan because I hated myself that much.
See that right there touched me so deep, because having heard someone else say that, because life can change you, right?
Mhm.
When you have so many challenging things, traumatic things happen to you, just one thing after another, you know, it changes the way you view the world. It changes the way you view people, right?
Mhm.
And we become the very definition of survivor.
Yes.
We survive in some of the most profound ways,
Yes.
whether it be selling drugs or just fighting on the streets. And that we both can relate to
Exactly.
one or the other, if not both of them, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to spy, but I'm going to punch you out too,
It's
right?
okay. I'm
Yeah,
good.
like the fights. Like,
Mhm.
I have to ask, you're a survivor.
Yes.
Did the fighting? When did the fighting start, and when did it stop?
Mm, the
Because
fighting.
you already in a group home, right? Your reality has changed.
Exactly.
Your world.
The flight or flight response didn't change in my body until last year.
Really?
Yes. I was in I and actually it was I was talking to one of my amazing friends. I love her to pieces. She's in Morocco now. She moved. But I was talking to her last week about, I'm going on vacation for the first time in a very long time, in 2 weeks. And I said, you know what? This will be the first time that I won't be in survival mode. I
Mm.
What am I supposed to do while I'm there? Because I don't know how, or I don't know what it looks like to go somewhere and to not have that fight or flight response.
Right. Wow.
So my entire life was spent in survival mode, which made me
Right.
make some very poor decisions, because you're just trying to survive.
Right.
Literally, you are just trying to your mind starts fragmenting itself with
Mm.
these pockets and boxes to try to, okay, push this back here because we need this to come to the forefront so we can work and, be productive citizens. It fragments itself when
I
you're in
like the way you
survival.
put that. I'm definitely like, because I never really looked at it that way.
Hmm.
And the reason why I talk about the flight or fight, because I find it interesting, because I never had a flight mode. You know how most people will get into certain situations, and immediately fight or flight kicks in. You're either going to run from the situation or you're going to go towards the situation, right? I cannot remember a time. I mean, I do when I was younger,
Hmm.
but at some point, the fear of losing, the fear of dying was non-existent anymore. Like, I just wasn't afraid.
Hmm.
And I go back to a time where, when I was gang banging, and
Hmm.
there was like 5 rival gang members, that surrounded me, and they were like, "We're going to kill you," and this, that, and another. I remember just smiling at them and going, "Let's do it." And they
Exactly.
just looked at me. I was like, "No, there's no running. There's no running.
You're gonna have
I'm
to take me
here.
out.
Yeah, you're gonna either have to take me out or I'm taking you out."
Hmm.
When it was all said and done, I walked away, and these guys were laying on the ground. And I just remember telling myself, "Go back and just stomp every last one of them."
Hmm.
For the simple fact of, this was embarrassing. That's what I was like. How is it that there's 5 of you and 1 of me?
One of me.
And you couldn't even do the job right. Oh no, I'm walking away. I'm like, you know what, Tony? Go back and stop every last one of them, just because. Just to let them know that, hey, we next time do the job right, right?
Oh
But
my God, I needed that laugh.
right, I look back on it now and I laugh. But I also remember that not having a flight mode in me was a really, really dark time. Like I had no fear of anybody at that time. And
Mhm.
I still don't. Like I have no fear of dying.
Neither do
Like
I.
I've seen, look, we've seen some crazy stuff in our times, right? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? People dying, people leaving us. Life has taught us, hey, you're going to have to develop some thick skin.
Yep.
What life doesn't tell us is that once that skin is there, there's pieces of you that are no longer existent anymore. And we exist in a world where we we try our hardest to fit in with other people,
Mhm.
because and just correct me if I'm wrong, because we're looking for we want people not to feel the way that we felt in our
You hit the
lives.
nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. Where we try and try because we've known so much pain and so much
Yeah,
anguish, regardless of how we portrayed that pain and anguish. That's what it
right.
was, right? You weren't gang banging, with a free spirit. You know
No,
what I mean?
no,
You felt pain, and that was your way of reacting to pain. So you can't get mad that someone bends over when they're in pain and someone walks when they're in pain.
right,
It's still the same thing, but it's an interesting place to be at once you lose that fear of passing, of being on the other side. it's
right.
it's definitely an interesting component to life. I lost my fear of death last year,
Mhm.
and I find myself, like, I even tested myself the last time I flew back from Atlanta. We had a lot of turbulence, and normally, because I have epilepsy, I'm supposed to take something under my medicine, my prescribed medicine under my tongue, so that when we go up and down, my brain doesn't do its own flips while
Right.
we're midair. And this time I tested myself and didn't take it the last time I came back. And I was like, not only do you not have a fear of passing anymore, like I used to be terrified on airplanes because we
Hmm.
almost crashed when I was 10.
Wow.
So, yeah, coming into LaGuardia from Seattle, um, they cleared a jet for takeoff something like 45 seconds too soon. It was on the news the next day. My mother had told me to go to the bathroom, back in the day, go to the bathroom because I'm not stopping when we get off this plane. I want to get home.
Hmm.
And so I was in the bathroom. I thought we landed because the captain had, come across saying we were making our approach to land. So I'm 10. We go boom. We landed, right? Nope. I came out the bathroom and this man grabs me and pins me down. There are trays flying everywhere because, back then we used to get fed on airplanes.
Right, right.
Um, my grandmother's crying. My mother is taking off her seatbelt and like fighting an airline hostess. She's like, that is my child. And, she's trying to get to me. The man grabbed me for safety
Right.
because everybody was in crash position. Um, Even the masks, the oxygen came down. And the next day it was on 1010 Winds, New York, which was, New York's AM radio station, that they had cleared a jet for takeoff 45 seconds too soon, and it caused an air pocket between the two of us, which caused us to
Mhm.
go into a deep dive. So when I tell you I truly tested my gangster last time I came back from Atlanta, I was testing my gangster. I was like, you know what? We're gonna test this last thing once and for all. And I sat on that plane. I wasn't medicated or anything. I was like, you know what? Yeah, you have no fear of partying anymore. Your fear is gone.
To see, and I love that, right? I love it because it's scary, but yet exciting in the same sense, because that's when you're free from the world.
It frees
we
you.
we have a different perception of what the world offers. The fear of dying is just, and this is just me. I believe that the fear of dying is fear of the unknown, fear of fear of leaving people, because
Yeah.
when you've had so many people leave you,
Yeah. You know
the
what it
last thing
feels
that
like.
you want to do is fit the narrative of leaving others.
Yes.
That goes back into a trauma response, right?
Yes.
Um, but when that fear is no longer there, you become at peace with everything, including yourself.
With everything that is, you are at peace.
Everything.
Yes. With
Okay,
everything that is, everything that exists on this plane, you become at peace.
understood.
You accept people's decisions easier. People think it's because you gave up on people. No, I just accept that this is where they are and this is where I am, and
Right.
I can. And it's crazy how that mindset shifts, because you go from being worried about how people perceive you,
Hmm.
and it seems like overnight that it happens. You go from being overly concerned about how everyone else perceives you to only caring how you perceive you and your relationship with source, the divine, whatever people want to relate, God, universe. That comes to the forefront, and it's like, I don't you merely human. I don't care if you don't like me.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
It's like you lose all of that. So that's when I say all of my masks officially came off. The
Hmm.
masks that I've had to wear, the mask of expectation as a daughter, as a sister, as a mother, as ex-wife. I was finally able to release all of those versions of me that were created to survive the things that I've been through, even in adulthood.
Hmm.
you know and it's a very freeing experience. It
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
is. When you lose, my brother-in-law says, "Oh, you finally lost your GAF," and I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "You're a giver. You finally."
Hey, that button was broken a long time ago.
Yeah, buddy.
That button was broken. What the heck? Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. It's just gone. You can do whatever you want to now, right?
It's out of
Now,
here.
going back to where you were in survival mode. What when did you get married? How was that relationship?
I got married the first time in 1996. We both knew we shouldn't have married each other. He was trying to go out on a date with somebody else the night we got married, and I was blowing up his pager. Um, that was a very jarring experience. He's a disabled veteran, and has been diagnosed with a multitude of mental health issues, which
Hmm.
later the kids and I suffered from.
Hmm.
So I got married at 21, and we were married for, I think, 13 years. But and have two children from the marriage. But I knew I shouldn't have even been in that relationship. I knew it. But it was the 90s, right? You're supposed to be in love. You're supposed to get married. You're supposed to have kids. You know what I mean? There was that expectation of this is the way life is supposed to go. And so we went through a lot of cycles of abuse there. And I finally ended that cycle of abuse after being held on my knees, begging for not only my life, but my children's lives at gunpoint at the end of a 9mm pressed against my forehead for 3 hours. It
Jesus.
was after that experience when I said, we can't do this anymore. Nope.
Wow. Because you know when you go through things like that, it really affects us as we go, right? Um,
Hmm.
Having guns pulled on us, having knives. I've talked to a person one time before where they were locked in a closet. Their their spouse at the time put them in a closet and kept bringing their dog and putting the dog on her, and then would hold the kids back in the room and let them watch what she was going through. And the first thing that comes to mind is like, where was that protector when you needed it the most?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
we are when you're put in situations like that, you literally have to that healing process. I'm gonna say have to, but that healing process is a motherfucker.
Oh, it's deep.
It's
It
deep,
is deep.
right? Because no one really understands the depth of fabric that you have to unfold to rebuild, like as you said, that those fragmented parts
Mm-hmm.
in your brain to put them back together to formulate the complete picture and the reality that you lived in.
Yes.
And also come to a place of acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness, grace, and
Yes.
patience. It takes a hell of a person to do that. And you've done exactly that.
I have. I don't hate any of my exes. Even the last one, which had the most impact on me.
Mhm.
Um, I don't hate any of them. I still, if I think of them, I switch the thought to sending love and light.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I'll say that out loud. If I'm having a thought about something they did in the past, I'm on podcasts and stuff like that, so I'm talking about it.
Right.
Um, but if I find myself having a thought, I'll just out loud say sending them love and light. And then that, helps those thoughts to quiet down a lot more.
Okay. Okay.
But no, I don't harbor hatred for anybody from my past. I forgave everyone from my past that has done me wrong, and I forgave myself most of all, which was the hardest,
Right.
was the
Right.
self-forgiveness.
I understand that. I'm still working on I'm still working on the past, and better understanding. Look, I have not a hateful bone in my body towards anyone that I've ever been with or anything like that. I just don't have any emotional attachment to it.
Right.
It's like the wind.
Right.
You're gone. It's okay.
Exactly.
You're like the wind. Um, I don't give it a second thought.
Mm-mm.
It's like, okay, I appreciate the time.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the memories, but it is what it is.
And any lessons that came with it, thank you.
Yeah, anything that came with it, because if it's a failed relationship, I either taught you what you don't want or you taught me what I don't want.
Which is probably what we need in that moment.
Right, right. And,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, man, I appreciate it, but you get one step closer, right? And just like the wind, it's there. It's either going to give you a cool breeze or a warm breeze. You're either
Mm-hmm.
going to enjoy it or be discomforted for a moment. But then when that moment is past, you go into the next one, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't carry it with you. But you,
No.
like you said, you wish them well along their journey.
Mm-hmm.
I do wish you well along your journey. I do want to see who you become.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, just maybe, in the next go around for you, you will find what you want.
Exactly.
And I'm okay with that. Right,
That's the way we should be
right,
toward
right.
people because our lives are never meant, everybody's not a forever. And again, I think that comes from the way our generations were raised, where,
Mhm.
fostering relationships was the most important thing. That's what everyone focused on. So you think that your friends are supposed to be there forever, your spouse is supposed to be there forever. No, once the lesson is learned, they move on. Everybody's not a forever.
Right, right.
So, like, one of my greatest friends, I love her to pieces, would do anything for her. My sweet, my Tiffany. She goes, Ty, you're stuck with me because I'm your lifetime. And she always says, people come in your life for reasons, seasons, or lifetimes. And she said, everybody's not a lifetime. They're either here for a reason to teach you something for a season, but not everybody's there for the lifetime.
Yeah.
So I love the way she puts that. I
I
really
love that too. See,
yeah.
I have a different philosophy about it, but it's along the same lines. And this helps keeps me in check. The reality of my life is that I'm the seasonal one. I'm not there. I'm not there forever in your life. The reality of my life is that it took me a long time to understand this because I've always
You
had to
just
wonder.
dropped a
Yeah,
bomb.
I'm the lone wolf. I when I pass into your life, it's usually because you're needing something, and I'm carrying it. So when you come into my life, I am my main goal is to give you what you need
And
for
then
you to
move on.
carry on. I cannot take it personal. I cannot become attached to you. I cannot become attached to places or things because just like a blueprint, it's constantly moving and developing. I am only here for a season. Once that season is up, I will not be upset with you. I will wish you along your way because I'm excited to see who you become. Now, this comes with a lot of rules, because understanding this, I am I would be wrong if I tried to have an intimate relationship with you,
Right,
knowing that you belong to someone else.
right, right.
So I would rather develop an emotional and intellectual relationship with you. That way, a, a there's a whole lot of respect that I can give. There's knowledge that I can share, and it's a mutual thing. I can love you without touching you,
Right.
right? So these are the things that I've had to come to terms with. I
That
am
that
not
was a juicy nugget you just dropped. I'm not
right.
gonna lie. I'm moving away from the reason seasons lifetimes, and I'm crossing more over into the way you put it. Oh my God, it makes so much sense.
I'm the
I feel like a
seasonal.
puzzle piece was just dropped into my like that's the only way I can describe how I feel right now. Like there was a puzzle piece that just dropped into my puzzle, my life
Yeah,
puzzle.
see, and so take it and use it if you need, right? But it's the truth.
It
Um,
makes sense though. It
this
makes
makes
so
sense
much
why our
sense.
lives are such. That's why we have so many people that come across us. There are people in this world that are meant to walk a path of service.
Yes.
Once you can understand that, we move with the seasons.
Yes.
Whatever may be your summer, although it may be fall outside, whatever your summer is, I may show up. Whatever your winter, your fall, your spring is, I may show up. But when we cross, I want to enjoy every moment to make sure that I leave you in better condition than when I found you. Because normally when we run across people, people are so battered and bruised
Mm-hmm.
that they just need someone to tell them that everything is going to be okay. Not
Exactly.
take advantage of them,
Mm-hmm.
but show them that, hey, it's okay to love you. It's
Exactly.
okay to want to be loved. And then we take that, and the reality of it is that we may never experience it.
You are beyond correct.
Yeah,
Well,
and but that's
you
the
are very
reality. That's just things that
deserving.
I've put together, right? We
I
may
love
never
that.
experience that love, but we are able to give it because we become the things that we wish that we needed when
Yes.
we needed it the most.
Yes.
It's not like that we're not incapable of love. We give it freely.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not the ones who receive it.
You just made, like I said, you just dropped a piece into the puzzle. When I tell you that hit,
Mm.
you just put a big piece into my puzzle. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Well, no, that means a lot coming from someone of your stature. Because I mean, I'm just a guy in the world just trying to figure it out. Just trying to live and have the best human experience I can. But I want to leave the world better than when I found it.
And
You
those of
know,
us who are meant to be of service for our lifetime, we do, because we know so much pain.
right,
We understand the pain of not being loved, not being wanted, not being needed, and we don't want anyone to hurt like we have
right.
on those, in those moments where no one's looking, we don't want anyone to feel that. But man, did you just drop a puzzle piece?
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Now I got a question for you.
Mhm.
But sorry, I went off topic a little bit. I thought that was pretty interesting because talking with you is just freaking amazing.
Thank
Um,
you.
just
You
to,
too.
just to think outside the box and just like we said before, and we'll touch on that just a little bit. But just to look at the world from a different lens,
Hmm.
and not have any expectations, but extract knowledge. Pain is knowledge.
Yes.
Suffering is wisdom.
Hmm.
Being a fool is how we accomplish all of these things.
Exactly.
Through suffering is success.
Hmm.
We Through suffering, we are allowed to rebuild ourselves in a different way to either become better or bitter.
Exactly.
And we get the chance to choose, right?
Hmm.
Do we learn, or do we stay stuck in certain moments that makes us a victim? These are the questions
Cycle.
that I always have when I go through and meet new people. And I go, I see you right here. Now, come on, let's move through. Come on, let's move
Hmm.
through. Right.
Hmm.
But now you have kids.
Yes.
How did these situations that you were in affect your children and how they perceive the world?
Um, it was very traumatic for them.
Mhm.
I used to hold a lot of regret for, the things that they've seen and heard and witnessed, and, some of the things that they've had to go through. I don't live in regret, guilt, or shame anymore. So I don't have the regret. I just wish that it could have been done differently. Now that I know what I know, you know what I mean? I wish I had the do over, but unfortunately, we don't get that in life. We have
That's
to
very
accept the consequences of our actions, whether they're direct or not, um, or whether they're intentional or not. So I have three of the most beautiful daughters ever graced to walk this earth. And when I say beautiful, I'm not just speaking aesthetically, I'm speaking their hearts and their drive and who they are at their core. I could not, it's not possible to be any more proud of them
true.
than I am every day that I sit here. Unfortunately, those traumas have led us into separation. So I have not spoken to my kids in over a year at their choice. Um, and you know what? I can't blame them. I can't blame them. Our parents were never accountable for what they did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and their perspective is, well, how could you let these things happen? Because they're looking at it from a today sense, right? Where we've got these glued to our hands all day.
Hmm. Hmm.
They're not looking at it from an Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh, you know what? You better stop bringing up that because you just showed my age right now. Encyclopedia Britannica. You remember when we used to
A
order
through
those things?
H, A through H.
Oh, and everybody had them, right? Everybody, and no matter what house you went to, everybody had the Encyclopedia Britannica because everybody
Exactly.
wanted to be smart. And for those of you guys that don't know, the encyclopedia was the Google.
That was our Google.
That was our Google. Okay, we actually had to pick up a book and go read. Did you ever have people tell you this? If you don't know something, go look it up.
We'll
Why
look
I
it
gotta
up.
look it up? I don't know how to spell it.
Or yes, my grandmother. How do you spell this, Nana? Go look it up in the dictionary. But how do I spell it to look
Right?
it up in the
I mean, we
dictionary?
got a pretty good idea of what it sounds like, right?
But we learned.
But we
We
did
learned.
learn. I mean, how many pages have you gone through to look up something?
I can't
How
even
many
count,
times did
man.
you look up the wrong definition but learn
Thousands.
something else?
Thousands.
Right? It's like, psychedelic. That's not
Hmm.
an S.
That's
It
not an
begins with
S.
a P. right? So you're looking up everything that sounds like psychedelic, CYSY, whatever it looks like, right? SI, right? All of these different things. You're looking up like, well, I didn't find psychedelic, but I did find scientific.
Close enough.
Close enough. Okay, I didn't find psychedelic, but I found sciatica.
I found that my car wreck.
We learn things by accident, man.
Exactly.
We learn things by accident. See, I'm done with you already. Bringing up Encyclopedia Britannica and stuff, man. Shoot, that brings back time. So, let me ask you a question. You remember the old nursery rhyme books?
Oh yes, Old Mother Hubbard, the Goose and the Gander. That's how I found out that male geese are not called geese; they're called gander.
I'd see again, right? It's like, huh.
Oh,
this is just freaking amazing, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I think we all had those the big old green books with the gold lettering. You know?
Yes.
We had to read them for bedtime stories. Look, we should have been traumatized by the bedtime stories. Now that when we get older and we've read stories like Hansel and Gretel,
they were crazy.
They were horror movies.
Yes.
Think about that for a minute. We was reading horror movies. We was reading horror nursery rhymes as bedtime stories. No wonder we messed up.
They call that's that's why we got Gen X wars going on now.
Yeah, you see that too, right? You did see they didn't pick the fight with the wrong people. They don't understand.
They woke up the sleeping bear.
They did, and look, they should have just left us alone. You on TikTok too, so you see that stuff. And it all started with strawberry shortcake. And if you listen to this strawberry shortcake, yes, I'm talking about you. I don't care about your feelings. You should have just left us alone.
She should have just left it alone.
Pick a fight with someone else, not with this generation. We
wanted to be lost.
We're a different breed.
We fought with our hands.
We throw hands.
Remember
in closets.
You remember the Your Mama battles on the schoolyard?
Look. That's when you could not take things personal. Because I'm going to talk about your mama, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your brother, and your sister. And if you got a crippled cousin, I may talk about him.
I'll throw him in there just for gravity.
See, this is the stuff I be talking about right there. Like, don't pick a fight with people who have. We do this for fun.
Exactly. That was our.
I jumped on a little follow train, the Gen X follow train on there, right? And it's freaking getting amazing.
I'm getting ready to hop on it. I was giving it a couple of days. I'm getting ready to hop on it.
Yeah, you might as well go ahead and jump on it, right? Because it's getting pretty interesting.
It's getting fun.
And it's just like, you remember when the Black Girl Follow Train happened?
Yes.
It broke the internet.
It did.
It made the news.
It did.
Right? It made the news. And then they had that one, which is still going on, the soft guy era.
Yes.
I don't think people really understood what that was for, right?
No, I think they missed the memo.
Yeah, I think they missed it, right? You know what I'm saying? Because the guys they were pretty much telling you, we're just doing the same things that you've done and just turning it around and giving it back to you. Now you don't like it.
Exactly.
Now you know how we feel about it, right? And it was nothing. I laugh at it. I was like, soft guy era. This is awesome. I'm in my soft guy era. drizzle. I mean, the women had sprinkle. We got drizzle. My soft guy era.
These wars are hilarious. They're quite entertaining.
We had the chicken wars, right? We've experienced those. Those was freaking hilarious as well. And then people started bringing in elephants. And I was like, no, this has gone too far.
Wrong way. What is wrong with y'all?
Oh, they just stopped playing by the rules. They was like, we got an elephant. We got lions and tigers. No, stop.
Exactly. Oh my word.
But yeah, this new trend, this new Gen X trend. My question would be, what are we doing? I mean, we're here now. What are we doing?
That's what
I
I
mean,
was
are
waiting
we
for all weekend. That's why I didn't hop on it over the
right?
weekend
I'm
because
trying to
I'm
figure
like,
out we
okay,
gonna do
what are we
fisticuffs.
doing here? But
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen the creator Slim Sherry. She's a
yes.
huge.
Oh,
Okay,
love her.
she got on yesterday, I think it was, and she was like, "All right, what are we doing? Where's the meetup? What do we, And she was on there, so I'm interested to see how things have panned out overnight since she's
Yeah, yeah.
commented.
But then you know what? Here's the secret to it, right? And this is why I encourage people. It doesn't take you no energy to subscribe to someone's channel.
Nope.
It don't take you any energy to write a comment, let us know how we doing, and things like that.
No energy, no
Because
money.
we live in an age now to where we have the ability to help each other out of
Yes.
financial turmoil.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's why I'm a huge component and I will support you.
Mm-hmm.
I will share your stuff. I'll come to your channel. As a matter of fact, I'm coming to your channel, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, any of those. I'm coming to your channel. You just let me know. Send me some material so I can put it out across the board.
Yep.
I am that guy, right? The problem is, I think a lot of people don't understand what we have at our fingertips.
That, and they're afraid. I have found people are afraid that you would bypass them. And it's like, no, if we're all doing this, then
Right.
And there's enough room for everyone. Like I don't see where the gatekeeping is because there's enough space for all of us to do this and all of us to be successful.
Hey, there we go. I want to see everybody successful.
Exactly.
I want to see everybody live the life that but get out of debt. Let's
If
help
it's
each other.
positive, I share it on my page. If I watch 5 seconds of a TikTok video, I like it just because I watched it.
Yeah.
Not because I agree with the content, but because I know the time the creator took to make the content and I can like the effort that they put into that. And I know the value of the like or the comment or the share, So it doesn't take anything for people to do that. I have a circle of women. Well, we're more like a dot now, but there's a few of us that have band together, and that's all you see on our Facebook feeds is us, sharing each other's things because they're positive, they're uplifting, they're good, wholesome, nurturing, things that all of us are here doing. We're just trying to reach each other and help each other heal.
Right.
And what greater cause is there to share?
Right. I mean, it shows a unity in the world that we've been missing for quite some time. I don't think we've seen this sort of coming together since the 90s, right? And from the Gen X generation, from the older millennials, the Zennials, we haven't seen this sort of unity in a very, very long time. And I'm here for it.
You and me both.
I'm excited to see where it goes to.
I am too. We'll have to stay tuned to Slim Sherry to find out.
You know what? I follow all kinds of people on there. I've built up quite the following. Never understood why. I've been that guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm still getting used to the whole TikTok thing. I even bought this little gadget right here.
Oh, you got the little spinning.
Yeah, the whole 360.
You guy. Yeah.
This one don't have the three. Oh no, it does. No, it doesn't. No, so this one doesn't have the whole 360. Oh no, it does. And see, I keep forgetting I got the bottom. This thing will go around with me and everything. But yeah, I got one of those. And it's been really, really cool, right? And so yeah, I even was looking. I got the tall tripod one, and I use that, and I'm still getting used to making the videos for the simple fact of I never really got into the videos, right? This like doing the podcast, I always tell myself I'm not trying to have a digital footprint. Ta-da, here I am now. Too late for that. Right? People know who I am. No, run.
A little too late, my brother. A little too late.
Well, I'm starting to realize that now. I'm like, well, we're here. Let's see what we're going to do next.
Party it up.
You know what? I don't know how to party it up. I'm still the introvert. When I get off of here, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit on behind my keyboard and watch everybody. I'm not gonna, if I see your stuff, I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna support you and everything. But as soon as I think that you're gonna try to comment it back, I'm turning off my computer. I'm turning it off. Don't you comment back on me? Don't you do it. I like to feel invisible. I like to feel like I'm the ghost in the computer that just pops up and then disappears. You can't see me, gotta go. It's that whole lone wolf thing, right? I can show up right now, but I gotta go. Okay,
Look, that's those of us who've had to live in survival mode for our whole lives. We're just introverts now.
Yeah.
We've had it with the streets. We've had it with the people. We stay behind our desk, our laptops, and our phones now.
Yeah. I mean, they made it easy to be an introvert, right? We talk about the people that play behind games and everything like that. I'm like, you know what? I get it. I played outside my whole life. I've got enough sun. Look at my tan. I'm here. Right? Oh my God. See, we could go on forever. But I have a question for you, right?
Absolutely.
What was your aha moment that changed everything?
2.5 years ago.
Yeah. When was that moment?
2.5 years ago, I lived in Atlanta. I was dating a 4th grade teacher. We were scheduled, to blend households, and I knew that something was wrong in the relationship, but I thought it was, again, me, that going back to, I'm Satan's child kind of thinking. I thought it was me, and I made a mistake in the beginning of the relationship. But it was actually, I found out a 1.5 years after I left Atlanta. It was what's considered covert narcissistic abuse. And to give anybody an indication of what that's like, they compare it to the treatment that prisoners of war go through, the psychological warfare. And I tried to end my life. I was very serious about ending my life. I took an entire bottle of sleeping pills with coffee and vinegar, and then left the house and went and laid in the woods and went to sleep. And of course, things happened after that. I'm in the hospital. I wake up, and it's so sad. But like, my first thought waking up was like, you couldn't even do that, right? Like, that was my first thought in that moment, in the space that I was in at the time.
Right.
So I honestly feel like that was the last straw for my kids, but they were trying to hold on for hope. And I moved back to DC. I tried taking my life the day after I had flown from DC back home to Atlanta from burying my brother-in-law. And so I moved back. My sister called and she was like, I think we need each other right now. And, I said to her, I agree, and moved back here. And that really started the fast track to my healing journey. That's why I say it's been a long 2.5 years, but a short 2.5 years, because I've always been one of those who jumped in the swimming pool with both feet, but boy, I was not prepared for the depth of this journey. But I have to say, it's been worth it, because
go ahead.
Have mirrors around my house. I used to cover my bathroom mirror because I hated myself so much. To be able to look at myself every day, to sit there and lose everything that I had built and everyone I loved, and still be on this side, out here holding people's hands to help them heal. Never thought this was possible. I never thought I'd love myself. I never thought, I never in a million years thought I'd be single 2.5 years, let alone celibate. But that's what changed it. So, when we talked about forgiveness earlier, I always said if by some weird chance somehow we ran into each other, I would actually shake his hand and say thank you, because it saved me from having to be an imposter for the rest of my life. It saved me from having to hide my psychic gifts for the rest of my life. It saved me from having to not be who I was created by the ultimate creator to be, so that I could be whatever it was he needed. And so I would shake his hand and say thank you if I saw him today.
So that's deep.
Because that started, it literally was the catalyst. It was my spiritual awakening. It was the catalyst for everything that I have, am, or believe in, everything that I speak on. I would not have healed from my childhood trauma. I would have let it stay in that box in the back, or so with the lid closed, thought I had a rock on top of it, and, all that kind of stuff. I would not be who I am today. And as sad as I am that my daughters don't want me in their life right now, I understand it. And I smile through it, because no matter what or who wants me around, I want me around. And I couldn't say that 2.5 years ago. I couldn't find anything in me that was worth loving. And the universe kind of stripped everything away so that I wasn't healing for anyone. Anytime I've healed any part of me before, it was for my kids. It was for this reason. And now it's for me, because I'm worth it. And this little New York City, group home girl never thought it was possible. The opportunities that are being laid at my feet, we're not even talking about things that I have to work hard for, are endless. I got a message in the middle of the night last night. I got an Instagram direct message. And when I saw a guy's name at first, I'm like, oh God, another one of these, please just go away. Leave me alone. I'm single. I'm not interested. And, I was a little bit sad last night because I kept dreaming about my middle daughter. Her and I have like a very psychic connection. And he said, I just wanted to ask you to keep showing up. I wanted to end my life. And I saw you talking on a podcast. And I've decided to stay around. That makes just that one message, makes the last 2.5 years of agony worth it. That in and of itself, just that one message.
Yeah.
So I feel like if universe called my number today, my purpose is filled, because there was at least one person who heard the message that I want people to hear. And that is, you're valuable, no matter what you have around you, who you do and don't have around you. You are valuable all by yourself. You are lovable all by yourself. You are worthy all by yourself, unconditionally. And that message came through last night. I'll be printing it and framing it.
I'm glad, you are amazing.
Thank you.
Very inspiring.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you made the decision to stay around, because we need more individuals like you that are giving so much into the world. The world would just take the time to accept it.
Yes.
Because what
quiet the mind.
Exactly. Look at the example that you've laid out, from the path that you've lived. Most people don't have the strength to come back from that. I've seen the battered and the beaten. And I'm that guy. I will come to where you are, battered, beating, bruised, confused, and misused.
And hold on to you.
And hold on to you and be like, look, I see you. And just that simple phrase, right?
And I was just about to say that. That
Yeah.
1, 3, that's all, like in my lifetime, that's all I've ever wanted is for
Right.
somebody to say, I see you. 3 simple words,
Yeah.
not even 10 letters.
The
And
healing
it
that
literally
comes.
changed the course of somebody's life.
Yeah. And we do that on a regular basis, right? And not even know it, right? Do conversations like this, right? There's people out there just listening right now. And, I want to give shout outs to everybody who's been tuning in on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, all of the Rumble, all of you individuals that are tuning in right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you guys for, you guys can ask questions as we go, right? You know what I'm saying? Before we begin to wrap it up. And we just appreciate you guys just listening. Hopefully you guys are taking down the nuggets that Miss Tywanah is dropping and enjoying the conversation. So do me a favor, if you are still tuning in and you haven't already, head over to their YouTube channel. It's called the Grief Let's Talk About It podcast, and hit that subscribe button for me. It don't take you anything. It's just a couple more seconds out of your day to just drop that. But it helps us support the channel and get more content out there to more and more people. This is our effort of trying to have better conversations and normalize the talk around death, dying, and grief. Suffering you don't have to do alone. And the people that we have on, they are great resources and they're great teachers. So please take advantage. I put this information in the description below for you to go in and reach out to them. And Tywanah, what's next for you?
As a psychic, I've been shown just a tiny little bit in my dreams what's next, and even I'm not prepared for it. For now, I'll keep talking on podcast. I'm part of an anthology book being released on October 29th, so I will be a published author.
Hey.
As of October.
Okay.
The dream from the very first night in my group home, I remember crying and saying I was going to write about it in a book one day. And I'm writing about something different in that one. I'm writing about the last 2.5 years of my journey in that one. But that's coming out. I've started just getting my thoughts out for an outline for my own memoir. So hopefully in the next 12 months, I'll have that done. I will be releasing a few journals with prompts in the next 60 days to help people who are going through grief, incest, domestic abuse, those types of things, kind of just begin to process and break down without being that jarring experience.
Right.
Right now, I do oracle and tarot reads to help people blend the two worlds and give them direction. I'm working on a mentorship program, one-to-one as well as group, and then a teaching program. So we've got a lot coming up. If I showed you all the notebooks and sticky notes and things, it doesn't look as neat as this back here does. But
you know what? It wouldn't surprise me.
7 days a week, I sit at this desk and plug away to inspire others. My throat chakra is wide open and it's not being shut down again. And my voice will be used to inspire. As my mother likes to whisper in my ear from the other side of the veil, millions at some point.
I can't wait.
Neither can I.
I cannot wait. I can't wait. I can't wait to see you on stage talking to millions of people, inspiring them with your story, just like you've done here with me today and so many other people who have been tuning in.
Thank you.
Before I let you go, if you can leave the audience with something, what would you leave them?
You are worth loving all by yourself. You don't have to do or be for love. Anybody who loves you, it's unconditional. When we love, it's not control.
I love it.
It's just that, accepting where you are in that moment, who you are in that moment, as you are in that moment.
I love that. I love that. There's so much more in those moments than just the moment itself.
Yes.
There's lessons.
Yes.
There are emotions, a multitude of emotions that we can grab onto before we move on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. Now, where can people find you?
BlackButterflyGoddess.com and Black Butterfly Goddess across all social media platforms.
Awesome, awesome.
And
You
if
guys
it's an
got that.
urgent message, Tywanah Yvette on Facebook or Instagram, if you feel like, if you're in a dark space, then you have permission to send me a direct message through Tywanah Yvette, those are my personal pages.
Okay.
But I tried to make it easy. Black Butterfly Goddess on everything.
All right. And that even includes your TikTok, because I think I don't know if we connected on TikTok, but I need to find you on TikTok.
Yeah, when you said that, I was thinking we need to connect there. But yes, it's Black Butterfly Goddess on TikTok as well.
I'm going to find you. I'm T.O. Lynch 74, so Gen Xer here. But yeah, we're definitely going to have to connect over there. Maybe even do some lives over there. So you guys.
Oh, I would love that.
See again. We're always thinking, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I think that'll be a lot of fun, right?
TikTok.
Let's crash it there. It's like the Breakfast Club. No one knows. There we go. Breakfast Club all over. The Breakfast Club and the Goonies.
Look, you forgot Never Ending Story. I know that was a little sappy story.
Don't be calling me. I feel personally attacked when you said that. I don't know how I feel about this right now. I feel like you're calling me out, Tywanah. I don't know. We're going to have to talk about this. Tywanah, thank you. Thank you for blessing me with your story, your presence, your smile, and the laughter that comes along with it. Such an inspiring individual. Hopefully everyone else has gotten the same thing and had a blast with us today as well. So we got a lot of things coming up. Guys, go and check her out. Follow her. And this is going to conclude this episode of the Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. We love you guys. Thank you guys for your support. We're going to see you guys in the next one. Tywanah, we're going to stay connected. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to let me know what happens when you go on vacation too.
I got you.
Yeah, I'm already knowing. So you don't get rid of me that fast. Look, you might as well sip some tea. I'm here for it. I got my tea ready. And with that being said, you guys have a great, wonderful Monday and enjoy this beautiful day. Remember, you're not in this battle by yourself, and we're here for you.
Yes.
So, you guys have a great one. Cheers.